YouTubers and commanders alike, welcome to This Side of the Dark, where I talk about some of the current and future features of Elite Dangerous and speculate upon them. This week's episode, I'm going to talk about combat, particularly planet-based combat. As I am here at this base, Salty and I'm going to be scanning the data points for, of course, data for the engineers. Typically, the modified embedded firmware is what I'm looking for. No, this base has given me 3 of them before. And I'm hoping it does the same again. Yes, I'm trespassing. So currently in the game, as you can see what I'm doing right now, you can attack the base. Mainly you can scan it. There's missions that you can get that will ask for a specific thing. What the heck? I hope that doesn't become a problem later on. Anyways, like I was saying, I do get missions that require you to scan specific I don't know what it's called. One of those big yellow things. Anyways, scan a specific object or destroy a shield. Haven't done one of those missions since 2.1 went live. Since I've been working on my player group, the Order of the Shadow, those kind of missions have not turned up. Don't know why, don't know if they're still in the game or what. But anyways, I have noticed that attacking bases, depending on the base, is really incredibly hard at sometimes. Sometimes these high security bases like this one are absolutely impossible. Mainly because they got system security ships that fly by. As soon as you start attacking, you got system security ships will eventually show up, and they just won't leave, forcing you to abandon the entire prospect. So I'm here in an anarchy system where I know there's no system security to intercept me. I don't know why Frontier would think this is a good idea. I mean, obviously it's good for a team play element. But since you got these stations like this, well, unless you're with friends, you don't really need to worry about it too much. Because you can pretty much solo a base like this with no worries whatsoever. And you can get your data points and everything else. And everything's just peachy creamy. Now, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy this aspect of the game because it is pretty much fun, and even if it does, I only find this in Anarchy so far, even if it does have ships guarding, once you destroy them they go away and you don't get any other ships coming back, so you're free to really gather what you need of these data caches, which is a good thing because, well, we all need them for the engineers. But what about the future? What does the future bring for Elite Dangerous as far as assaulting bases is concerned? Well, don't know. Frontier hasn't really said anything. There hasn't been anybody really focusing on this at all, or even talking about it, which is, you know, kind of a shame because there's lots of potential here for some unique type of gameplay, particularly like objective based game. not objective based, but an objective based game. Like you need to store, like get into the base and scan something, which is what missions kind of do, but nothing that is too difficult that you can't do by yourself. Of course, doing the missions again, if you get those really high security bases with impossible, with system security guys, you're gonna need a couple guys to keep the skies clear where you complete the mission, which is good for large groups, small groups, or people that only have like maybe a friend or two online. That's going to be like pretty much impossible, and no one's going to be able to do it. So this is why these beasts are pretty good. But why objective bases? Why would I even mention this if it's so hard for these other high security bases to be able to defeat? Well, with Guardians coming out later on, Guardians coming out, and then with Guardians coming out soon, and then Commanders after that, so you get the extra ships and multi-crews. What I would hope the next step would be to hire actually NPCs or have NPCs as like someone controlling your ships, so they keep the skies clear where you go down to the base and clean house. That would be great. I'd love to see that happen. No clue whether or not that's going to happen or not. It'd be a shame if it doesn't, but that would be great. Again, what does this have to do with objectives? Well, this objectives would be tied into largely with war zones. Currently, there are no war zones on planet side. On planets. There's only war zones in space, and that's it. What? You gotta be kidding me. This must be a bug. Or oh no. Let me guess. So I guess this is something else. Some reason I can't scan this base. I haven't been able to for the last little while. I'm just wondering, once you scan a base, does that mean you won't be able to scan it again forever, or is it going to be like a week-long cooldown? I still don't know. I'll probably find out eventually. So war zones, yes. Currently there's no war zones. We're hoping in the next season, when you get the FPS version of the game, you will actually be able to enter these bases and take control of command centers, and hopefully allow you to do a team. And hopefully, eventually, I would like to see NPCs like. We got passenger missions coming up, which would be passengers being carried passengers. And in previous videos, I've talked about the possibility of hopefully having taking troops down to bases and letting them loose as a part of a way to contribute to the war effort. So you grab troops and you blow them up into like a fellow dropship. You come down, land at one of the big settlements, and then you release them. Well, I'm hoping that will come. I mean, that would be a really cool thing for this all to happen. Another thing that would be awesome is if currently, as far as I know, attacking a war zone or attacking a base that belongs to a faction that's in a conflict doesn't seem to have much point to it. I haven't tried this yet in the new release, but previous patches, like since Horizon's launched, I've noticed that when there's a war zone going on, these little settlements turn into lawless. So You don't get bounties for attacking him or anything, but you don't get anything for it. You don't get anything for scanning everything and killing or blowing up the power plants. Nothing supports the war effort, which is kind of weird and kind of dumb. You'd think this would be a part of the war effort, is taking, you know, lessening the defenses of one of these outposts so they could be taken over. Instead of just like, okay, yeah, we're going to go into designated spaces in a system and just shoot each other up. I mean, come on, Frontier. Let's make this a little bit more dynamic. Like, even currently with Warzones right now, it's an empty space. It'd be even better, which would make more sense, if it's actually in a ring system. So now you got asteroids and flying around and you have to worry about. I don't really understand why it's just free space. Well, it's very high active and there's lots of like activity. Still, a little bit more interesting, a little bit more of a challenge would be nice for the war zones. Well, it is pretty challenging right now, but still no dynamic involved, especially if you have like other players. You got players PvP in war zones. There's no really the chance to ambush them because you know where they are. You can't use any cover or duck behind anything because, well, there's nothing there. So, yeah, so that's what I'm hoping for, is an objective-based gameplay for at least next season, when you have be able to get out of your ship and walk around, hopefully, these bases and be able to attack them or enter the facility to take over the command center. Hopefully you can do that and have it contribute to the war effort when you have war zones and wars and civil wars. Because currently, these settlements, attacking these settlements or any kind of base, aside from large settlements, I haven't tried actually attacking a large settlement during a war zone, because, well, that would probably equal to instant death right away. Yeah, but these things do not, these settlements do not contribute at all to war zones, as far as I know. I'm hoping to learn out more as we play, but so far this is it. This is the place to gather materials and accomplish missions, and that's it. But speaking of war zones, one kind of added feature I'd love to see added to the game regarding war zones is war zones that take place on the planet's surface. This could be like, you know, SRV, like ground attacks. But it wouldn't make much sense to have like a ground war in the middle of nowhere. Well, actually it kind of does, because that's where most battles happen, but, you know, maybe make like progression, some kind of progression war going on in planet surface, so you have several like war zones on the planet's surface, and as one faction increases their influence for winning the war, the war zone will start coming closer to these settlements, and closer to these settlements, until like finally, like the last day of grinding, you now can take over this settlement, which would be great. I think nice objective kind of gameplay. You know, but you know, the way it works now is pretty good. No, well, a little bit of a complaint, but not too bad. Well, here's hoping for the future, and I hope these kind of things might come in.
Security measures engaged.
I was thinking about talking about something else, but I'll save it for another video. So until then, Commanders and YouTubers, take care, fly safe. This is Firebot13 signing off.